Hi. So welcome to Sunday Night Live. I'm very excited. I know I say that every week, but I genuinely very excited. Tonight I'm discussing a topic that is dear to my heart, even though I do not have experience with it. But I know a lot of friends and I know a lot of people who are struggling with this. So tonight we will be talking about how to support a partner with bipolar. And my beautiful guest, Emma, is going to answer all of your questions. She is going to give us all the information that we need. So I received your questions. We will be answering them tonight. And please, if you have any question, any comment, feel free to drop them in the questions box or the comments, and beautiful Emma will answer your questions. So let's get Emma on board. There she goes. Hi, Yara, you made it. All right. Hi, Mona.
Hello.
Hi, Emma.
How are you?
Now I can see you.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank you for having me.
Habibi. So I sent you already who sends you his regards and much, much, much love. Fancy that.
Spencer.
I love him.
Yeah,
I love
very,
him.
I
So
know, I'm very lucky. We're very good friends.
thank you. So thank you so much, Emma, again. I will give you like a couple of minutes just to introduce yourself, tell people who you are, what do you do, and then we received like quite a few questions. So
Okay.
let's do this.
Hopefully I can help. So I'm Emma. I live in Dubai. I'm English and from Brighton originally. I got diagnosed with bipolar 10 years ago, but I had been experiencing and suffering with the symptoms of bipolar and being undiagnosed with bipolar since the age of about 15 or 16. So I went
Okay.
undiagnosed for about 14 years. And when I got diagnosed, it made sense. It made sense of a lot of what had gone on in my life, and some of the ways that I had shown up. So I got diagnosed, but the truth is I didn't get diagnosed until life got really crazy. And I got misdiagnosed with depression, put on antidepressants, which for someone with bipolar sends you sky high, a bit like an uncapped mortgage. There's no ceiling. So you just go up like a rocket. And I experienced mania and was convinced that people were following me. I was seeing and hearing things that weren't real, or so I thought. I was very unwell. I didn't sleep for about 2 weeks, and my friend eventually said to me, Emma, this isn't depression on its own. This is something more, and we have to get you to a doctor. So she took me, and I got assessed, and I then got diagnosed with bipolar, put on the right medication, and it took me the best part of 2 years to stabilize on very heavy antipsychotics to then learn and be able to manage my condition. And it is a continuing process. I learn things every day. It doesn't end. You just learn to build more tools into your toolkit, simply, is my view.
Well, Emma, you're doing a great job. You are really very brave. Thank you for sharing this. I personally do not have any experience with any bipolar. Like closely, I haven't dealt with any bipolar person. I do have a lot of friends who either they are bipolar themselves or they are in a relationship or in a marriage with a bipolar partner. And it's very I want to say it's very interesting, the things that they go through and the things that they learn about each other. How can they support each other? But having you here tonight gives it more a much more personal experience. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I know how it feels. I know the pain. I know how are things on the other side. So let's start. We have received few questions.
Okay.
Just be free to answer whatever you feel you are comfortable with. So
I'm
the
here,
first
I'm ready.
Yay! So the
I'm
first
open.
one, okay, no name. So how can I know for sure that my partner is bipolar?
Okay, so the honest answer to that is unless you are a psychiatrist or a psychologist, you can't. So the best piece of advice I would give to a partner is, as much as it is tempting to step into the shoes of a professional, please
Yeah.
don't, because although your help and support is well intentioned, it could actually be quite detrimental to the diagnosis process, the healing process, the stabilizing process. So the best thing that you can do is build enough trust with your partner to go to a professional person and have them professionally assessed. The worst thing you can do is try and diagnose that yourself. You can certainly suggest, like my friend did, Emma, I don't think this is depression on its own, and I think it might be something more, and I think you might need some more help. But it has to be consensual. It has to be
Very
consensual.
good point. It's a very good point. I always say that good intentions are not always enough, and they're not always supportive or helpful. You could have the best intention in the world, but your advice could actually ruin my life, could actually ruin my mental health. So I personally used to be one of those people before I became a coach. I used to be one of those people who running and rushing to give advice to my friends, and then I
Me
realized
too.
maybe not
Me too.
you did. Yeah, maybe that's because when I got depressed, when I used to be like severely anxious every single day, and people just showering me with advices, and I was like, people, I don't need your advice. You're not helping. And it hit me. That was when I learned that good intentions are not enough. So that's a very good point.
But
So go
also
see a
for the partner to be in a place where they're trying to diagnose the problem, to be totally honest, they're going to end up exhausted anyway, and they're going to end up fatigued, and they're not actually going to be able to step into that supportive role like they really need to. So if your car had broken down, if your girlfriend's or wife's car had broken down, or your husband's car broken down, and you weren't a mechanic, would you step out and try to fix it? The answer is probably no. You go to a garage, right? So just try and, if we can just swap the words, it suddenly becomes very simple to understand and to comprehend. The minute we start trying to fix things that we don't understand, that's when it gets messy.
True, so true. Wow. So, okay, another interesting question is what goes on a bipolar person's mind?
Wow, big question. So it depends. If you are low, it's, to be honest, at times, not a lot, other than I've just got to get through the next hour. I've just got to get through the next hour. How am I going to get through the next hour? I can't do this anymore. I mean, there are so many thoughts that go through your mind when you're in a low state. I could list off hundreds. None of them are very positive, and none of them are particularly happy. They're all quite hopeless and helpless. And I think that's a good description of a depressive state. We lose hope when we're depressed because you start to lose hope that it can be different, and you start to believe that every day will be the same as today, and that's what leads you to feel like there is no hope because if every day is like today, I can't do every day like today. So that would be the cyclical thought process pattern, I would say, that's in a low state. And then in a hypomanic state, or there's two different states on the higher end of the spectrum. So there's hypomania, where someone would look very productive, very efficient, able to juggle a number of projects at one time. They might be a bit overtly flirtatious. They may use slightly
Wow.
risky words and be a bit bold, but be a bit funny at the same time. So it can go unnoticed by everybody until it gets a little bit higher, when it turns into irritability. So for me, when I'm in a irritable hypermanic state, which is the state before full mania, I often have thoughts of everyone's too slow, they're all stupid, they don't understand it, why can't they keep up with me? I'm going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, they're wanting to slow down, I can't understand why they want to be so slow. I find it incredibly frustrating, and I will get like this sometimes with my partner. I'll be explaining something, he doesn't get it, and it's because I'm going too fast, and he'll say what, and I'll say, oh, you know, and I'm completely, I don't even give him two chances. I'm completely exhausted with trying to get him to catch up with me, which is very frustrating for both people, because I'm frustrated because I don't feel like he can keep up, and he's frustrated because he feels like I'm being very impatient, which I am. And then the full
So
manic.
is it
Go on,
safe to
sorry.
say, yeah, sorry, I just want to, so is it safe to say, Emma, is that when you are on the level of hypermania, you're basically getting out of your nature self?
Mm. You are like a heightened version of yourself. So you will be the sort of more dynamic version of yourself, and you will be full of
Okay.
ideas, full of creative flow. It can be very good. It can be a very
Yeah.
nice space to be. And actually, a lot of people quite enjoy being hypermanic because they can get a lot done, and it's a complete contrast to the depressive state that they've been in. So they feel like, yeah, I'm nailing this, I'm doing it, and you love it. But left unchecked, it can tip over into mania, and that's when the real problems start, because that's when you start to lose touch with reality, you start to lose perspective. It can get as severe as complete delusions. It's happened to me twice in my life. So, and it's not a nice space to be in for anybody at that point.
Okay. So other than medications, what is the best way to um, be like handle these emotions or these
Mm-hmm.
levels of energies that goes up and down other than medications? Is there any specific routine like
Mm-hmm.
meditation, journaling? Now you said that we have a question about having a partner with you. So how can we, let me read for you the question. So how can I comfort my bipolar partner and make him feel safe without hurting myself in the process?
Okay, so I did a bit of thoughts around this, and there's a few
Wow,
answers to
okay.
the, yeah, there's a few answers to that question depending on the state of the person, but there's
Okay.
also the supportive person to consider. So when somebody is low, you can, one of the most helpful things, I don't know if you will agree with this, is to be seen and to be heard. So what is it you need? Would you like to talk? Would you not like to talk? What can I do that would help you feel better today is a great question. So my partner asked
That's
me
a
this.
very good
What,
question.
yeah, what can I do, or what can we do that would help, you feel better today? Which is a nice question, because it helps the person say, oh, actually, I just need you to sit with me and watch a bit of rubbish TV, or I just need you to put your arm around me, or do you know what, now I just need some space and I need to sleep. So it gives that space to answer that question.
I actually
But
do
when,
that with everyone. I
yeah,
do that with everyone.
yeah, it's
I
a
love
lovely
that.
question for
Love
anyone
that.
actually, and
I love
any
it.
relationship.
Yeah.
um, and then when someone's low, to be able to offer the basic kind of duties of the house without the depressed person having to ask. So offer them some food, say to them, do you want me to run your bath, pop the shower on? And just pick up the practical duties. I'll go do the grocery shopping. Just the little things really help take the burden off when somebody's very, very low. And when somebody is very, very high, be patient. because the person that is experiencing hypomania feels like they have endless energy. They don't feel like they need a lot of sleep. They don't feel like they need to slow down. So if you turn around to that person and say, slow down, just rest, be careful, all it will do is bring up agitation and resistance. So you could offer to help them. Say they were in the middle of rearranging the lounge, because that's what they want to do in that moment. You could offer to help them, say, look, why don't I help you for an hour and then we'll sit down and have a cup of tea. Do you see, there's compromise. So my partner does this with me. He'll notice that I'm busy and he'll say, oh yeah, okay, we'll do this for an hour and then maybe we'll sit, will we, and do something else. So he's not telling me no, but he's helping me slow down. And that's taken practice and wisdom on his side. He just did that, but I found that very helpful because he's not telling me what to do. And
that is a very smart approach.
Yeah, and he's with me rather than on top of me. So that's very helpful.
That's very important, Emma. You said something very interesting. That is, he's with me, not on top of me. And that's really, really, I think it either breaks the relationship or it makes it work. So it's about communication at the end of the day, no?
It really is. So
I love your reaction to that.
It really is. So this is what I was going to say. When somebody is well, this is the ideal time to talk. It's not an ideal time to talk when someone's depressed. It's not an ideal time to talk about strategies when someone's hypomanic. When somebody is well, sit down and talk through together. You know, if I was my partner, I could say to me, you know, have you thought about what your triggers are? What triggers you to go high? What triggers you to go low? Have you thought about when you are triggered, what might help you to come back to a more settled place? These are great conversations to have when the person is well, because they will have insight, they will have time to process what you're saying, and they will have the space and they can be practical about it. And you can make that plan together. And the really important thing to establish when you're well is a crisis plan. Is a plan for the worst case scenario, whether it be the lowest of the low or the highest of the high. If we reach either of these points, what's the plan? And the plan normally consists of the person with bipolar giving consent to the partner that doesn't have it, and saying, in the event that I am this unwell, I agree that we will do, or you will do for me, X, Y, Z. And I sign it. And then when I get to the point when I am that unwell, and he can pull it out and say, you know, you agreed that when you showed this symptom, this symptom, this symptom, and that you were no longer in touch with reality and XYZ, whatever it is for the person, because it is individual, our symptoms are individual to us, then you agreed that we would do this. And it gives him that power to do what I have asked him to do. So he can show me that and say, Em, I think we're here and this is the crisis plan. I think we need to do this now. And I've agreed to it, and he can show me it. It's my writing. So I made that decision, not him.
Okay. He's just following your... Yeah.
He's following my plan, my words, my signature, my writing. He's doing what I've asked him to do. But he's able to do it because I've given that permission. I've given that space for him to be able to actually enforce that and bring safety to me in a crisis situation. Now that conversation has to take place when you're well.
Of course. Wow. That's something I never knew that exists. Now when I hear you talk, Emma, it's whatever you're saying, it could be one of the most successful things to do in every relationship. Almost in every relationship, like having a crisis plan, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It's really brilliant, but
it's key, because if he didn't have that, we know what our plan is. If I was to get really, really manic, we know what our plan is. And he knows what he's got to do.
Yeah.
If we didn't have that, then I would mistrust him in that moment, because I wouldn't trust what he was doing. Whereas if he shows me, I trust that because I did it. I agreed it.
Wow.
So it's quite powerful to do.
So a crisis plan could include giving you medications, taking you to the hospital,
Yes.
these kind of things. Okay, all right.
Yes.
What about if the couple have kids?
What do you mean?
So let's say you have reached the level where there is this crisis plan to take place. Will that affect the kids?
I mean, we don't have children, so they're not in our crisis plan. But when we are actively trying for a family at the moment, and when children come into it, we will have to incorporate them into that plan. So one of the things that I've written down here is, when somebody is very unwell with bipolar, whether it be very high or very low, the important thing for the supportive person to have is some self-care in place for them and some safety for them, because they can't save the world, right? So they need to know who they can speak to. So, for example, Gareth can speak to my mum, he can speak to my brothers, he can speak to my best friends, he knows which friends he can call, and that he has a network right there that he can plug straight into, and they can have conversations about me, right? I trust them all. They've known me a long time, and I don't expect Gareth to carry this. Them. Yes, of course. It's all about trust. And I don't expect Gareth to carry this alone, because I understand it's heavy. So that's really important, but also boundaries. So if I'm being unreasonable, which I can be when I've got hypomania, it's absolutely okay for Gareth to say, we're not going to have this conversation right now. We'll take some time out. We'll come back to it, you know. It's important, and it's down to the individual, but the partner must sit there and think, what boundaries do I need to keep me energetically safe? And that's something that they need to work out on their own, and then share with their partner and say, look, in these moments when you are hypomanic, then this is my boundary, and I need you to know that I'm here to support you, but this is my bottom line, you know. And that's okay, because they don't have to carry it all.
Agreed. Wow. Okay. So boundaries, communication, and a crisis plan.
Yes, all of those things.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. So we're done from questions. I did have one about kids, but I'm not sure if you can help with that. Is that if my husband is bipolar, will my kids be bipolar too?
The honest truth is maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. It is hereditary. It doesn't mean it is. It doesn't mean it definitely will be, but it may well be. My brother has bipolar, and my nanny, we believe, probably had bipolar but went undiagnosed. It's different generation. And she, you know, she died over 10 years ago now. So you know, her getting diagnosed, mental health changed a lot in the last 20 years. You know, let alone when my nanny was young. So yeah, is the answer. Possibly not. But you know, it's nothing to be frightened of. The key is education, you know.
Yes, I was just going to say, yes, thank you so much for that. You know, Emma, I think today I was just having this conversation with a friend, is that education and awareness are key if we want to change the world, and if we want to help raise healthier generations to come, to have a healthier relationship ourselves, with our partner, with friends, with family, with colleagues. Literally, it's connect us with everything around us. However, education and awareness could be also a tricky thing if we do not implement or practice what we are being taught. And that's even more dangerous if it's making any sense. Like, we could be educating people all night long, but if they do not actually do something about it, what's the point? So today we were just
No.
talking about it. Education is really important, but just practice what you are being educated on.
And education is really important, not only for the person that has bipolar, but for the person that lives with the person with bipolar. The more understanding anyone can have of any condition that somebody is living with in their home, the better. So when I got diagnosed with bipolar, I made it my mission to learn everything I could about this condition, everything. And I went to support groups. There are so many. There are so many support groups out there for bipolar, and they welcome the partners or supporting people of. So you can go to these groups. You don't have to have bipolar. You can be the mother, the sister, the husband, the child, and you can go to this group and be in a group of people who have bipolar or support someone with bipolar and share and just lighten your load, right? Because it can be heavy. So that's a really good space. I learned a lot in that space, and I also, it was so refreshing to be able to sit there and hear someone else say something that to somebody that doesn't have bipolar might sound completely crazy, and go, they get it. And I had like a wife, I remember there was a wife at one of the groups, and she was listening to us talk, and she said, you know, it's so nice to hear you guys talking, because she had the same question that you gave me earlier. I sometimes wonder, does my partner have bipolar or not? And coming to this group has helped me to understand that it is real and it does happen, and that these symptoms affect lots of people in very similar ways. So it's helping me to detach, to not attach the diagnosis to him, and to be able to see him for his personality and the symptoms for the symptoms. So a lot of people get a lot out of bipolar support groups, and I'd really recommend, if you are supporting someone or you have it, go find them. Just Google it online, find one, you will find one. And if you're at the beginning of this journey, they're very, very helpful.
Wow, I love that. I've never been into a support group, but a friend of mine went there for a grieving support group, and she said the same thing, that sometimes I would be sitting with my family or friends, and I want to say something, but I know that they will not get it. Being in a support group and people could say something and you could just feel like I want to hug them because someone gets it. So I can't imagine a world where you'd be sitting with someone and you're not being understood. I think that is one of the most frustrating feelings ever, that you want to make someone understand, but you can't at the same time. So this is really important. Are there any support groups that you recommend people to go to? Because I think someone here just sent us a question. Where is it? Khaled. Khaled said, what professionals can couples go to learn about how to deal with a bipolar partner? What professional? Okay. So where can couples go to learn about how to deal?
When I got diagnosed, I was in the UK, and I do think it's an international organisation. I'll find the link after this, and we can pop it in the comments on this video if it's staying on your Instagram. So I'll find some links and I'll drop them into the chat when this is finished. Yeah, there's a few. They're UK based, but I also think a couple of them were international based. So I'll drop some resources in this thread, and you guys check the comments. Yeah, check the comments after this live. Give me about 20 minutes, but I'll drop them in for you.
No, take your time. Thank you so much. I don't know why I usually do not get emotional in my live sessions, but now I just feel like I really want to crack the screen and give you a hug. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And no, I'm out of words, and my friends and people would know that I never run out of words. Okay, so thank you, Emma, so much. It's really beautiful for you to share this with us. is there anything that you'd like people to know about a bipolar person? Like friends,
Well,
family,
the
anything?
thing is, the truth about
And
having
maybe, I'm
bipolar
sorry to
is,
interrupt, maybe any misconception, any myth, any misunderstandings that people have that you as a bipolar person would love to be fixed, because people get assumptions and they base
Mhm,
their truth on it.
mhm. I
Weird.
mean, well, the only thing that I think I've been quite fortunate, really. I've never had anybody come to me with anything massively unhelpful, so I feel really grateful. But things I do see and hear are things like, um, if someone has a turn in mood, just normally in the
Yeah,
day, just throwaway comments like, oh, what are you,
that's so
bipolar? Or,
just
not towards me, towards other people. And I just, it's sort of a laughing point. It actually doesn't upset me, but I do know that it does upset other people that have bipolar, because it sort of minimizes the severity of the condition that it actually can be for people. So just to be mindful of throwaway comments, really, that minimize a condition that's actually very incredibly difficult to live with for the person and the people around them. But for the person that's got bipolar, if this is you or someone that's close to you, adjusting your life is absolutely key to having a better quality of life. If you are living with bipolar, life has to change. I hate to break this to you. Life has to change. Life can't carry on as it was. You can't carry on burning the candle at both ends, partying, any of these things. Caffeine has to go, alcohol has to go. Late nights are not good. They're very triggering and can put someone very quickly into hypomania. Mindfulness is key. So I am not on any medication now. I was on really strong antipsychotics for about 3.5 years, which were debilitating. But I've learned to I'm not on any medication right now, but it is still something that's in my toolkit if I ever need it. So if you were on medication and then you've come off it and you need it again, just don't bash yourself for it. It's okay. You haven't failed. Just look at it as another tool in your toolkit. So put meditation in your toolkit, put caffeine-free drinks in your toolkit, try and reduce sugar, and medication is another tool. Sometimes we need it and sometimes we don't.
that's amazing. Wow, thank you so much, Emma. I think I've said thank you a lot of times today, but I genuinely want to thank you for picking up and sharing your story and your experience on that. I'm pretty sure people would appreciate this. If you have anything else to add, feel free, or else we're done for today.
No,
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you so
Okay,
much for
so
having me.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm definitely gonna talk to you offline after this is done. So thank you for. So I want to say that thank you for everyone who's taking the time to watch this or any kind of educational video on these mental health issues. It's very important that all of us have the right understandings and the right definitions on situations like this, and because you never know who we dealing with. It could be our partner, it could be someone from our family member, it could be someone from friends or colleagues, or even a stranger. But it's very important that we know what we are dealing with. That's what I want to say. And second thing that also Emma mentioned, which is very important as well, is to be very mindful of the comments or even the jokes that we think they are funny. For example, when someone is having mood swings, that doesn't make him bipolar. Get your facts checked, so you don't get the chance or the possibility to hurt someone with your wordings. You don't want that. You have good intentions, but at least get your facts checked, and just Google, go to a to someone professional who can help you with that, or just have a conversation with someone who went through that experience. He is the best person for you to go to get your information in the right way. So thank you again for watching. Emma, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. You're such a, you have a heart of gold. So thank you so much. And guys, I'll see you next week. If you missed this video or you want to just rewind and watch it again, it will be on my IGTV, and Emma will be sharing with us as well links for references. So good night.